Welcome to 21st Sports recap and reaction for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the St. Louis Rams in their Week 3 matchup, played September 27, 2015. We're going to go over the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. Let's get started in the first quarter. Josh Scooby hit a 21-yard field goal about halfway through the first quarter to put the first points on the scoreboard to make it 3-0 Steelers over the Rams. Then in the second quarter, Le'Veon Bell scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. They went for 2 points, and it did not convert. So they failed on the 2-point conversion as they tried to pass it, and so it was 9-0 Pittsburgh over St. Louis. Then 2 minutes before halftime, after an interception by Janoris Jenkins, the Rams were able to get their first points on the scoreboard with a 49-yard field goal by Greg Zuerlein. So now it was a 6-point lead for the Steelers with a score 9-3 as the Rams cut into the lead just before halftime. So there was no score in the third quarter, but in the third quarter, Roethlisberger went down. He was sacked by Barron, and he injured his left knee on the play. No further, word on exactly what is, wrong with his knee. They'll be x-raying it and find out more tomorrow, but that took him out of the game, and so Michael Vick would come in. The third quarter was scoreless. And then in the fourth quarter, with about 5.5 minutes left to play in the game, Greg Zuerlein hit his second field goal of the game, this one a 27-yarder, to make it a 3-point game, as it was Pittsburgh 9, St. Louis 6 at this point. But then, going down the stretch, an interception by Will Allen would set up a field goal by Josh Scooby as he hit his second field goal of the game. This one a 41-yard attempt coming out of the 2-minute warning. They would push the Steelers' lead back to 6 with the score now 12-6, Steelers over the Rams. The Steelers would hold on and they would end up winning this game with that as the final score. So the Steelers win in a defensive battle as they improve their record to 2-1 on the season, and the Rams fall to 1-2. And in this game, Roethlisberger, before leaving the game in the third quarter, was 20 for 24 with 192 passing yards and an interception, no touchdowns. Nick Foles was 19 for 28 with 197 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception as well. On the ground, Le'Veon Bell, 19 carries for 62 yards. He had a touchdown rushing. He also had 7 receptions for 70 yards, which gave him a total of 132 total yards in his return after the suspension that he served in the first 2 games of the season. Antonio Brown had 11 receptions for 108 yards and was the game's leading receiver. Kenny Britt had 102 yards off of 7 receptions for the Rams. And for the Rams, their leading rusher was Gibbons with just 1 carry for 24 yards. Trey Mason had 9 carries for 16 yards. Then we look at the kicking. Scooby 2 for 2 as he was perfect on his field goals. And Greg Zuerlein also 2 for 2. Neither one attempted an extra point, as the only touchdown that was scored, the Steelers elected to go for 2 and they did not convert, as we mentioned earlier. The leading tackler in this game, Janoris Jenkins, he also had an interception. He had 6 tackles in this game. McDonald and Ogletree each had 5 tackles for the Rams. Ogletree 2 sacks. Donald had a sack. Barron had a sack, as that was the sack that actually knocked Roethlisberger out the game. And Robert Quinn had a sack as well. He also forced the fumble. And for the Steelers, Tuitt was their leading tackler with 5 tackles. He had a sack as well. Will Allen and Mitchell each had 4 tackles. Allen had an interception in the game. Moats had a sack for the Steelers. We look at their team stats, and the Steelers had 17 first downs versus the Rams 12 first downs. We look at third down efficiency, and the Steelers were 6 for 12 on third downs, converting 50% of their third down opportunities. The Rams just 2 for 10, converting only 20%. They also went for it twice on fourth down, and they did not get it either time, as they were 0 for 2 on fourth downs. We We look at total net yards. It was actually very close, about as close as it could be, as it was just a 1 yard difference. It's the Steelers netted 259 and the Rams netted 258. Of course, that was in large part due to the sacks by the Rams. We'll get to that in a second here. But the net rushing yards, 62 for the Steelers, 71 for the Rams. Although it seemed as if the Steelers were doing better on the ground, but they were not really having much consistency on the ground on either side, really. Le'Veon Bell did all right on the ground, even though he had more yards through the air receiving. But net passing yards, 197 for the Steelers, 187 for the Rams. And that was due in part, as I said a moment ago, to the sacks, as the Rams sacked the Steelers quarterbacks 5 times for a loss of 33 yards. And the Steelers sacked Foles twice for a loss of 10 yards combined. Let me look at the red zone. And in the red zone, the Steelers were 1 for 2, 50% conversion rate in the red zone. And the Rams 0 for 1, as they did not get into the end zone at all in this game, especially not from the red zone. We look at time of possession, 32 minutes and 19 seconds for the Steelers, 27 minutes and 41 seconds for the Rams. So the Steelers, a big loss in terms of Roethlisberger going down, but a big win on the road in this defensive battle. And only time's going to tell how long will Roethlisberger be out. And you got to wonder, with the knee, there's all types of different possibilities. So you don't really want to speculate. I guess you can only hope that it's something minor, potentially. Could be, maybe only out for a week or two, but it could be something bigger. But we'll find out. Don't want to say until we actually know. But the, Steelers defense was pretty impressive, holding the Rams to just 6 points. Of course, 3 of those points came after a turnover, after that interception by Jenkins there in the second quarter, right before halftime. So they did a quite good job of shutting down the Rams on offense. And the Rams as well. I mean, they were getting after the quarterback, getting the pressure on him. 5 sacks for the Rams. But Le'Veon Bell finding a way to get yards, whether it be out of the backfield or, on the ground. And he got that 1 touchdown there, that 1 yard run. And that would be enough. As I said, this was a defensive battle. The Steelers come away with a big win on the road. And now they're 2-1. St. Louis, they struggle to run the ball. That's really the thing. They had Todd Gurley actually in this game, as he finally was able to get on the field. But he had 6 carries for just 9 yards in this game, so he didn't really do much. He also had 1 reception for 5 yards, but that's really where their shortcoming is. Even though technically, they did have more rushing yards combined, 10 more yards on the ground than did the Steelers. But with the Steelers, it was mainly Le'Veon Bell was where the focal point of it was. D'Angelo Williams only got 1 carry for 2 yards in this game, which is kind of interesting. I think they might have did better if they would have maybe, gave D'Angelo a couple more touches possibly. But it was really just a defensive battle in this game, as the score clearly indicated, as the final score was 12-6, Pittsburgh over St. Louis. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.